Hey, and welcome to Anne's Norwegian Knitting, conversations where knitting meets culture, heart, and history. I'm Anne, and in this podcast, we're going to slow down stitch by stitch to explore the stories, the traditions, and joys that live in our knitting. Sometimes it's going to be just me, other times, you will meet Steph, and other times again, I will be joined by friends, colleagues, or special guests. But always, always, always with yarn in hand and curiosity at heart. Thanks for being here. Let's dive into the next episode. Hola! Another podcast.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, it's Anne, and I'm here with a fabulous Steph.
It's
Yeah.
me. Again.
Again. Can you imagine? Fancy meeting you here, right? We are, it's not like, I've been thinking about this a lot, and it's, are we ever going to run out of subjects to talk about?
I don't think so.
Now, and if we do, we just start over, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because something will change,
Yes.
evolve. Yeah.
Yeah. No, today we are going to talk about colors. And there's a reason for that. We try to keep these podcasts relevant to what is happening in our world right now when we do the recordings. And right now, we are doing our annual Eternity Shawl sign up. It opens on May 20th. The sign up is open, but they get the pattern and the instructions and stuff on May 20th. But in connection to that, I always do a color workshop. Sounds like I've been doing this for decades. I haven't, but I've done it for 5 years.
And it only happens once a year.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Because I have so much other stuff that I do put out there. So if I could do this color workshop every month, but I don't have there is no space for it. Unless someone gives me at least 6 hours more a day and maybe a week more every month, then we might think about it. So now you know, guys, what you to give me for my birthday. And
What time?
yeah, what time? Every time I see that more time, I see the rabbit in Alice in Wonderland running with his clock.
Oh, yes.
Hunk of time. So today we're going to talk about colors and how to put colors together, and talk about the color workshop, and talk about colors in general and how people relate to colors, right?
Yeah. We should show this is the Eternity Shawl. And there's one behind you as well. Just in case people are new to us but listen to the podcast or watch the podcast.
Yeah. So this is the shawl, and this is the this is the pillow, and the one behind you there. Yeah, so that's a once a year thing. It's a big project, but it's a fun project, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So colors. You have it with colors, Anne. So colors are easy for you to put together. And I am somebody that's colors are not as easy for me to put together. I struggle with it. But
do you struggle with it in the sense that you find it hard?
Oh, I find it very hard. Like to the point of anxiety.
Yeah, okay. Okay,
Yeah,
so
I find
that's
it really hard.
Yeah. You're probably not alone.
I'm best at colors when I go by the gut. But there's ways that you can put colors together and learn that. So for those of us who are not as good at color, there's ways we can still learn it even if you don't have it.
Totally. And that's one of the things that this color workshop that's coming up, we're scratching the surface of some of those tools because we're doing some theory. It helps to have some surface theory. As I keep saying, a lot of the stuff I say in this podcast is probably going to be also said during the workshop. But a lot of the color in general is a whole, people dedicate their lives, a lifetime to studying colors. There are experts with color knowledge out there that are miles, light years beyond mine, but I have the basic color knowledge, and some of that I personally don't use the color tools, the color wheel tools and stuff. a lot when I put my colors together, because you say that you have struggled with it, the point of anxiety. I tend to just most of the time get it right. I know it's yeah, I know it's awful. Having said that, I do get it wrong, obviously, absolutely. But the thing is, what I've learned over the years is that because I've been diving into this color theory to be able to teach others and give others some tips on how to do this. And what everyone says is that putting together colors for whether it is knitting, quilting, or any other fabric related hobby, or more than hobby kind of thing, it can be learned, but you need to know a few things. And then there are, depending on what your craft you're doing, there are different tools that you can use. Some of those tools are really useful across all these different crafts, and then some of the tools are specific for one of them. And that's what we're going to do in the color workshop, is that I'm going into, in the color workshop, what I'm doing is I'm trying to give you some really basic, just scratching the surface. You can't even call it, you can call it scratching, but it's not more than scratching the surface, but it's really basic to give you some knowledge and understanding. Actually, the knowledge is one thing, but the understanding is what's important, or what is going on. And then all of a sudden you are setting yourself up to actually be able to put together colors that might actually work, and that they might actually work. That's because what I've seen is that people, when I design and put out new designs, people pick my colors. There's always people that do their own, but the majority is picking my colors. And I talk to other designers and they see the same pattern. And I talked to students and to people that have knit my stuff, and they say, yeah, but I'm no good with colors. And having seen yours, I love it and I see that it works. So then that's what I'm doing.
And yours does work. This is your colorway.
Yeah.
Behind me.
Which not
And I
really,
think so many people see that. And obviously the knitting the pattern is gorgeous, but the colors go together so well that they want those colors.
yeah. And it's challenging because if you have to put together two colors, that's fairly easy, but even there you can go wrong actually. But that's fairly easy.
And this is 7.
But this is 7.
That's
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah. Let's celebrate that with a balloon. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that is in Fair Isle, 7 colors is not that much actually, because they normally do that. But they got a different, the Fair Isle color work is different than anywhere else. Norwegian designs don't have that same flow of colors that they do in the Fair Isle, and we have a different way of our has much more contrast compared to the Fair Isle.
Yeah.
It's another podcast, that one actually, the Fair Isle versus the Norwegian.
So where do you find inspiration for your colors, Anne?
My inspiration is, to a great extent, very often it's unconscious. It's just me having a picture in my head. And then when I start looking at it, then it's okay. Of course, it's nature.
Nature.
Yeah. And very often the mountain.
So do you go off of pictures, or do you go off of, is that just how it turns out for you?
It's just how it turns out. I normally don't sit down with a picture and then pick colors. I know this is cocky. I normally don't. And then afterwards, I just see that, okay, these colors actually are. That's what I seen when I see this. When that idea came up, that's what I saw.
I've seen pictures of this one in the mountains, and that matches mountain colors.
Mm.
Like grasses, rocks, the sky. So you're able to knit it and put it into a picture. I need to look at a picture and pull the colors. If I am inspired by a picture. So I go opposite of you.
Yeah, it's because, and that's the thing. It's, to me, colors have never been an issue. It's just something I do. But because I do what I do and have people in my world that want to learn from me, then I had to dive a bit in and see what is actually happening. And that's when I realized that, okay, my color schemes are actually seen in nature, all of them.
Nature.
Oh,
So we have somebody in our community, Terry,
yeah.
who is diving into her own color journey. And she's very inspired by nature.
Mm.
And so she goes out into nature and purposely looks for, and I love that. She purposely looks for and then picks her colors for the sweater purposely from what she has seen on a hike or a walk to the lake or whatever. So yet another way.
And that's awesome. And I love I love that people are like Terry, who's gone from actually doing what the pattern says into actually starting experimenting and taking on the advice of using what inspires you when you put together colors, right? I love that. And to go on that journey is such a fun journey, and I advise everyone to do it. I really do. And to get to terms with the fact that if you need to do swatching to get it right, then you're bound to succeed.
Somebody else in our community, Noelle, she goes into Pinterest and
Yeah.
looks at pictures in Pinterest and keeps a collection together in Pinterest that she can go back to and pull out colors from different, which is also a great idea. It just gets you aware of starting to look at color.
And that's the thing. It's about, I think, colors and putting together colors is to a huge degree about consciousness. Do you like? And then from there, try to see around you what actually works and then take inspiration from that. I think that is vital. But even I sometimes, seriously, I do go wrong. I have examples and then that I've shown in the community several times that where I do go wrong, either because I don't like it or because it actually doesn't work at all. It doesn't happen a lot, but it happens. But that's when this watching is helping me out, because I would never start on a huge project with new colors without
trying it,
yeah.
giving it just trying it out, giving it
Because
an audition.
another thing that is important is I keep saying that knit with colors that you like.
For sure, it makes it more fun.
Yeah, because how much fun is it to sit there and force yourself through a project with colors that you hate, right?
Yes.
You find this is, oh. But then,
So obviously you're a blue.
yeah. Yeah, that's fairly obvious, right?
And greens.
Yes.
I think greens are some of your...
Yeah, but blue is my color. And then over the last couple of years, I've done a lot of beiges and charcoals and greens.
Yes.
And I enjoy knitting it, but I don't enjoy wearing green, but I enjoy knitting it. I can wear a green hat, but not a green sweater. I don't think you'll see that on me. Never say never. But I've also done some charcoal stuff that I never thought I actually would wear, but I'm really liking that. Some charcoal and neutrals on it, but then, and also in my stuff, I need one color that pops a bit. So I've currently, for those of you who don't know me, I'm currently in love with the ochre, but the color that's around the center of the rose there, an ochre yellowish color is, I love it together with the charcoal and the neutrals.
Yeah. I've been knitting like a rust color, cognac, totally not my color. And boy, I loved knitting with it.
Yeah.
So that's true. But I just did it in a little bit, so it won't be.
Yeah. But I think that is also a thing with, don't you think that, even though, because I keep saying, knit with colors that you like, but at the same time, be bold enough to challenge yourself a bit.
Oh,
Yeah,
try it out. Yeah. If something grabs you in the store,
yeah.
like that cognac wasn't in the store, but I ordered one ball and then I found I loved it. Who knew? Like me, I
Well,
love knitting with
exactly.
me. I
And
don't
with
know if I'll
you,
wear it.
who knew, right? Because you
Mhm.
are purple.
I am purple. I am purple. Yes. Which we'll talk about in a little bit here, but I am purple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think purple rain every time I see it.
So let's talk about some of your swatches. Do you have some color inspiration for us?
Yeah, I do. And I don't have this for all my projects, but the Eternity Shawl is such a huge project and it's coming back again and again. And people, not everyone wants blue, obviously. Not a lot of people actually, the biggest proportion, the percentage, if you have a selection of 100% and you have different colorways, it's extremely likely that the biggest proportion of that total will pick the blue option.
Yeah.
There are more of us
And
that are attracted to blue than anything else.
that's a proven thing. People
Yeah,
gravitate to blue. Yeah.
yes, yes. And they do think it's because of the calm that it gives, because of the wavelength on the colors. It's the same with green, but the blue is more predominant in our lives in the sense that everyone sees the sky. And most of us, not most of us, that is so not true. In Norway, most of us, not in the US, a lot of us see the sea as well.
Or lakes, some kind of water.
Well, yeah, water. Lakes do count. They do. But still, having options is important when you do something like this because there are people that like other stuff. And we do. For those of you who listened to the Eternity Show last week, we've opened now. And when you sign up, you get this. I think we are at close to 50 different colorways options that we give you. And some of them have made up examples. We get pictures from people that have knitted, and then we put that in there so they can see how it comes out. But some of them I've also made, and I started that last year because I haven't done that before, but I've started making swatches to give people an idea of what this actually is going to look like. Because one thing is to get this picture with 7 colors next to each other. Another thing is to get a picture where you actually see how they play up, and especially in a piece like this or anything else that have colors that move. So
And when you see colors that move, the background shifts and your pattern colors shift.
in this
And they
one,
move in and out in this
yeah,
one. Yeah.
yes.
This
In
is
this one, it's
an
not
heirloom
very,
piece.
yeah, and this one is not very, it's not typical Norwegian to do that. This is an hybrid between Fair Isle and Norwegian because it's Norwegian in the sense that it has bigger motifs, but it's inspired by the color changes that you see in the Fair Isle. Having said that, to anyone that is listening and know about Fair Isle and maybe come from the Fair Isles and are Fair Isle knitters or designers, I am not a Fair Isle designer, and I am in awe of how they manage to get their colors move. That is absolutely fantastic. I just love the Fair Isle colorway designs and the colors that they put together. Love it. I saw this video the other day on Instagram because I don't do TikTok. I'm too flat. I can't. I could do it, but takes too much time to put my business on it. If I go in there personal, like, it's gonna be a rabbit hole that I don't get out of. But I saw this video on Instagram about this color choice tool for how to pick colors for Fair Isle. And she picked 9 different colors from that tool using some of those. The tool is based on the color techniques that and theory that we're going to talk about during the color workshop. It's about the wheel, the color wheel, and that tool was helping out a lot on how to put together. And I was like, okay, that made life much easier. That helps. There are tools out there.
Mhm.
what I do with this one is that I have the 7 colors that are in the original, and I know that how that they work because these 7 colors are used in different combinations, right? So you have sometimes you have all the time, apart from the very beginning and the very end in the original, it's blue all the way in the base, but different blues, and then you have enough and what you say, almond? Is that what you call it?
Yeah,
Almond? Oh,
yeah,
color
and
on them in at the edges. And then the pattern have different browns, but also different blues. So there's a light blue on the dark blue, and then there's a brown on the medium blue, and yeah, it swaps. So what I do when I set up new color combinations is that I use that setup because I know that works. Yeah. And then if someone says to me, I want a green one, then I'll go in and I'll find, okay, colors that I think can fit and be swapped. Dark blue, dark green. Okay, you want the warm greens. Let's take this one on the second because there are 4 different blues and 3 different browns, neutrals. And then I swap that. And then I put that together and I check it out with the knowledge that I have about how this might work without testing it. And then I say, this might work. And I've done that with 2 different greens. Actually, this is not a full,
I'm smiling because we talk about the color tool and
yeah.
the color wheel, but there's also, like you said, warms and cool colors. There's so much more than it is. It's a practice. It's
At
something you have to practice.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So what I've done is that I've done this one. This is not a full repeat because I made a full repeat to show all the color changes. This first one here is not all of them. So this is one that I did last year and then I got distracted, but I'm going to started doing something else that I'm hiding behind here. I'm going to show you that off the soon. But this spring I did this one. And here when I used some of my things that I do, this one told me that it would work. It doesn't.
Really light there in the beginning. It's hard to see.
Yes. So and it doesn't. And I saw that and instead of ripping it out, I decided to keep it to be able to show you guys in settings like this. Because I use some of the tools. I always say that the ultimate test is when you start knitting. And when I used some of these tools, it showed me that this was going to work, but it didn't. But I decided this one shows up in one place only. For every repeat is like 112. So this one shows up in the beginning of the repeat only. So I decided to just move on and knit through it. And at the very end, we use and the very beginning, because this is in between, it's just
Mm.
details. But at the very end, very beginning, this is what it looks like.
And that pops so much better, flows so much better.
Exactly.
Mhm.
But because the pattern calls for something else and I'm not changing that, then I changed on the color scheme. I changed this color to a darker blue. Yeah. So that it pops more, so that it shows up more in there. Because this part here is what repeats again and again. So this turned out really nice, but the upper part here, that the contrast is not that big, but that is also the same on the blue one. Yeah. So there are sections, and in other color combinations, you will see that this section here doesn't have that much contrast. But that's partly in the intention that it shall be parts. It was intentional that there should be parts in the shawl that have more contrast than others, because I want it to feel like it's flowing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go. So when I got distracted last year, I decided, because there are lots of people that want grace.
Grays. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know.
It's an
I
in
know.
color right now.
Yeah. And in Norway, everyone wants it to be gray and charcoal. It's like Norwegians are boring. Not knitters, but the non-knitters love colors. But when I did that, I thought, okay, we can do grays. That's fine. But I want to do grays and browns, neutrals. But I want one color that kind of pops. because that's me again. So then I ended up with this one.
Ooh, that's pretty.
Yeah, with this burnt orange. And then, because I think as soon as you put some browns with the grays, then you create something very different than just grays. But at the same
Very
time,
good.
it's very neutral.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. But again, this is my opinion. And
That's very pretty. It
yes,
flows really well. It could go with anything. You could wear it with anything.
yeah, you can. No, I don't think it's gonna be nice with blues though, but with anything apart from blues.
Yeah.
Mm.
So that burnt orange colors, that's the pop.
Yeah, that's the
Mhm.
pop. It doesn't pop, but that's what that's the color that stands out from that is burnt color is a brown. Brown is a red. All browns and khakis are either reds or greens.
Sure.
Yeah. And this is also a red, so it's not that far from it. But I've seen other people doing this with the ochre again, but we are in the same color scheme because ochre is in the same on the same place in the circle. For those who see the color circle. And I've also seen pink.
Oh, of
Yeah. Purple. You can if
course,
you
that would
do
be great.
yeah, exactly. If you do a neutral one like this and then put your color on that one, and this one would then show up every 112 rows. And then it's
Just a little interest.
yeah, you get that tiny little thing that shows up. Yeah. That's what when I was working on this one, I got distracted and I moved on. Okay, I have to make a gray and brown one. I have to. I do it now. Yeah. Yeah. You want to see the other ones that I did this spring?
Yes, of
Yeah.
course. Because one I love the best is in there.
Yeah, it's coming right now. The thing is, this one here,
Mhm.
okay, let's do this one first. This one here, I just thought let's do browns and grays because I know that works. I know it works if you do it right. And it did come out the way I wanted it. The green here was a result, this one here was a result of someone wanting to use that particular yellow greenish thing color there.
Was that the apple?
No, that is acid something.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it's not acid something. In Norwegian, it's acid something. It's not the apple. I can't remember. It looks crazy, but when you knit it, it comes. I really like it, but it looks really crazy when you have the ball in front of you.
It's almost like a lime. Is it a lime?
Yeah, but it's not called lime. It's called something else. I can't remember what it's called. And someone said that she wanted a green. This was last May during when we had open the doors last year. She said she wanted greens, but she wanted what you call those yellow flowers that come since spring and then go white, and then where you can blow on them and then they fly out. Dandelions. She wanted some yellow in it to dandelions. And I thought, okay, I need some blue in it to have some sky. So I put together around a colorway, and then I thought, okay, I need to try this one. And that one was this one.
Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah. So that was this one that didn't work. That needed a clearer blue. So there, yeah, that was the other inspiration. And I started this last year, and then I finished it this spring. Here, I thought I have to finish this one. And also this, and it's probably the same all over the world, but in Norway we have a lot of spring comes fairly late, and we have a lot of different tree types, and they bloom, they go green in different stages in the spring. In the middle of the summer, everything is just green. But in the spring, you will see that the hillsides are, in my town, for example, they are covered with, the hillsides are covered with trees. But there are different kinds of trees. So you will see that there are different colors of green because they pop and bloom at different speed, come out at different times in the spring. And then it's always lighter green when they are before they are fully bloomed, and then they go darker over time. So you have this play, call it a play of colors. But what would you say? A mosaic of greens. Yeah. And this one to me is that because there is yellow in there as well. So yeah. And I love knitting greens, but you would never see that on me.
Yeah. Because you do knit a lot with green and you talk about spring and
Yeah. And I really like it. My mom loves greens and she wears it. I would never do that. I would never. But I love knitting with it.
yeah.
There's greens in my
And
life.
you've got an Indian sweater behind you that's green.
Yeah, that one is green. So yeah, lots of greens. And then with this one, we have this purple. There are so many purple people out there. I think amongst the knitters, after blue, I think purple is the next one. Because there's so many purple knitters, and purple is not my color at all. Not even a tiny bit. Pinks, yes. Purples, no. But there's so many people that want a shawl in purple. And yeah, exactly. And you and I have been talking about it, and I know that you wanted purple, and I thought, okay, what am I going to do? So about inspiration. Everyone thinks that I'm so clever, but this one here that I'm going to show you now is actually inspired by something that Steph knit. Because I think we talked about this in the last podcast as well. Inside Anne's Norwegian Knitting, we have this membership called the Mountain Journey. And in there, a year and a half ago, we launched a pattern. It's in there for everyone who wants to join us. Sitting pad. It was meant to be a sitting pad because we Norwegians, we bring our sitting pads out when we go hiking, trekking. Knit.
Put it in your backpack and bring it with you every time.
Yeah, it's that ever returning famous backpack.
Yeah.
And then I made one out of a scrap yarn to the sense that you can call half a ball of yarn scrap yarn, but that kind of thing. I put together one in nature's colors. Steph made one in purples, greens, and yellows. And they are quite bold, those colors. They're vivid colors. And I'm like, I saw you knitting it, and I thought, okay, she can do her thing. This is not me. Not me. And then she finished it, and I thought, wow, that is cool.
It's pretty. And those are colors, are left scraps.
Mm.
And I had started a sweater like 4 times using the color wheel stuff, using my tools, and it wasn't right. I went to my stash, which has some size to it. Stood there and went, I want purple. What's on the other side of purple? Green. Put them together and just stole out of my stash. And then it worked. It went from the gut. It was stuff that was, and that's what worked. Anyway, I'm interrupting.
No, you're not.
That's our original point. My colors came from the gut, not from.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's all these things together that makes it perfect. And you have to try stuff. And then I don't like to say that you fail and it's a cliche that you're not failing. Either you learn something or you succeed. But many people say that's a cliche, but I firmly believe that because it's not the fail.
It's what you love, and then use your tools.
Yeah, and if you end up doing something that doesn't work, okay, so you learned something. It didn't work. Try something else. So based on that, I thought, okay,
it happens to everybody.
Which is the thing, right? It happens to absolutely everybody. And then I thought, okay, what we're going to do is that we're going to make one. I'm going to find some purples and some greenish, I dived in and I thought, what are we going to, we need greens, purples, and yellows. So I found 7 colors that I thought could work. Very different tones than what was on your sitting, but still the same color scheme kind of thing. And I knew when I did this that one of the colors were probably not right, but I didn't have the time to order something new and send it to me because I needed to start that particular evening to save my sanity, probably. So I thought, okay, let's just do this.
Isn't that how us knitters are? You get it
Yeah.
in your head, and I want to do it right now.
Yeah, not tomorrow, and definitely not the day after that. Now. So what I did was that I started, and I'm gonna do a reveal now. I started with this green here. This is green. It's an olive compared to your bold, vivid green, but it's green. And because I needed 4 colors in the base, I picked the pink, light pink, because I didn't have, that is not the wrong color, because I didn't have a light enough pink, purple to put into that. And then I started knitting, and this is yellow. You don't see it, but this is yellowish, very light yellowish. It's called buttermilk or pineapple, depending on where you buy it. And this is another green yellowish. Green and yellow are next to each other, so they are. Some people see greens as yellow and yellows as green. There are constant discussions at the dinner table in certain families. And when I was working on this, I was like down here, and I thought, this looks funny. This looks really funny. Not so sure if I like this. And then I told myself, Anne, stop it. You've done the work. Move through. Move on. And it's just a swatch. If you don't like it, it's not the end of the world, but continue. And when I came up here, then I thought, this actually looks really nice. Again, I would never put it on me. I would never knit a whole blanket of that for me, but this I like. And this is another thing. We have certain people, we have one in our community who's famous for not liking yellow. That is changing, however. We are having so much fun around that on the inside, but she's actually bought yellow now. It's not about, to me, it's not about not liking colors, because I like all colors, but it's about whether would I wear them personally? No. And that's with the purples. It's not that I don't like them, because I do like them, but will I wear them personally? No, absolutely not. It might change. And then here comes the challenge, because and I knew this was going to be a problem. This section here, in real life, the contrast is even lower than it is on the screen. Yeah. That being said, I like it. Yeah. It's really subtle. And when you have it, when I do watch it like from afar, then you see it. When you're close, you don't see it at all. You have to watch it from afar. And then I missed the whole thing. So it ended up like this. And
it's beautiful.
Yeah, I really like this. It's really cool. But what I have done, I've told, because we have the yarnery in the US and SU Fibers in the US, and Your Next Knit in Canada, they do some yarn kits for the Chunchichol, and I have told them that it's up to them if they want to offer a colorway with a darker color. I am giving in the color schemes, the color overviews that I give out in the Chunchichol, they get this one, and they get this picture, but then I leave a comment saying, if you want more contrast, you have to swap the background color on this one. Not the pattern, but the background color. So if you have a deeper purple, I think that's what you have ordered. And I'm looking forward to seeing that knit, and I want some pictures, because I think that's going to be really nice. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't have that because my mom got all my purples to knit a bag earlier this year, winter. Didn't think. So anyway, but it's nice, isn't it?
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And you put a picture up on the socials with a pansy flower.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's It was just perfect.
It wasn't it? And that was
Yeah.
just by accident. Everyone thinks that I chose those colors from those pansies, but no, I didn't. I chose it based on your stitching pad.
Yeah. And I love pansies.
Yeah,
So when I saw that picture, it's just,
yeah, yeah,
now I have to do it.
yeah. I know I mentioned this in the last podcast, but pansies in Norwegian are called stepmothers.
The mothers. That's still making me laugh.
Yeah, stepmother flower. That's what it's called. There we go. I don't know why, but I would probably have to look into that. But yeah. Yeah. And then I'm going to show you one more. I've had this in my brain for a long time. And for those of you who know me, I have a brain full of colors and designs, and they occasionally pop up and tell me that now is the time to go out, get me out of the head and onto not paper, but the needles. People have been asking about one colored ones with one color base and different colors in it. I have had this, when you see those, I've had this bouquet of roses in different colors in my brain. And I've been thinking, I want to make an eternity shawl based on those colors with an off-white background. And that has been it's been in here forever. And then it's been in here a long time. So this another evening when now or never, I just sat down and I knit myself a bed of roses. That's what I call it.
Oh, Bed of Roses. I love that name.
Yeah.
Yeah. With
So
all one color background in the,
yeah, and it goes from deep burgundy to red, orange, yellow, lighter pink, darker pink, and back to that on the deep burgundy again. And then reds and oranges and yellow, pinks. Yeah. That's those multicolored rose bouquets that you get. I don't know if you get them, but we have those in Norway. They are available year round. And that's what I thought. So this is a bed of roses. Could probably be a bed of tulips as well, but to me it's bed of roses. Probably because we do have roses in it, the mountain rose. So these are, and I think for those who, whether you're doing the eternity shawl or something else, because I do the same thing for the level 3 course that we have in one, I do the same thing. I try out the patterns with different color combinations.
yeah, give it an audition. Make sure you like it.
Yeah. And I can tell you for sure that there are stuff in this pattern here and in this cube here that doesn't work. But this one absolutely work. And this one is what I ended up with. Right. Ochre. Yeah.
With the blues. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. If you're doing and you're in doubt, and if it's a big project, I really advise you to test out and make a sample first. Because there's so many people. I don't gauge, I don't swatch, I making a sample. I just want to start on the cardigan. Yeah. But if you don't like it when you're finished, you have to swatch.
There's so much work.
Yeah. And then you have to rip the whole thing and instead knit something. It doesn't have to be a big thing. It really doesn't have to be a big thing, because this here is, I'm doing another swatch right now, and this one here is 4 repeats. This one here is 2 repeats, and I'm doing some sticking testing. Yes, I'm going to do some tutorials, but it doesn't have to be a big thing. Make it a small purse, a small cover for your phone, just to test that the colors work.
Especially when you've got 7 or 5.
Absolutely. After all, we are knitting because we love it.
Yes.
So it's just another opportunity.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure. You better love it.
Yeah.
Because it's a long time. That's a big project. It's not called the Eternity Shawl because you finish it in a day.
No, this one is a long-term project. Some people actually sit down and knit it non-stop for 2 months and then they finish, but don't let that set the standard for you. No.
So you better love it.
Yeah.
It makes you want to go back and pick it up again.
Yeah, okay. So what we're going to do is that we're going to open up for, this podcast is going to be released on Saturday. So today it's Saturday when we release it, not when we record it, but when it's being released.
So
And the
it's
colorway
April 25th. April 25th. So if you're listening to this bar in the future, April 25th, end of April is when it's coming out.
Yeah, that's true. And the color workshop is 28th. And if you missed it, it's open. You can, if you're listening to this in June, you have to wait until next.
So put it on your calendar.
Yeah. So,
To once a year.
yeah. Yeah, it is. But I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. So the color workshop, you have to sign up for it.
Yeah. The link
It's
is
free, right?
It's free, totally free. And you have access for 2 weeks to all the replays. And there are exercises, and there's a workshop, there's a Q&A, there is a deep dive to the transitional colors for those who want to do that. And then there is a final Q&A, and there's access to our community for 2 weeks, so 30 days actually, so that you can, to the sharing care community, so that you can share pictures and you can do you get 4 small exercises, if I recall correctly, where you can do some testing yourself and share and show your results, what you learned, and what happens every year, which is really cool, because you get some tools. There's nothing magic about any of these tools, but it's more about getting it all in one place. What you can do is that you can upgrade and have access to everything until April next year. If you're in the transitional, you get automatically upgraded, so that's another bonus that you get when you buy the transitional. So you can go back to it. But what happens every year is that what's fun is that people say that there's always people that say, okay, so now I know why I never liked that pattern. I like that sweater I knit, because I totally see why the colors don't work. And then they come back because they're doing small things, and then some projects that I tell them to do or give them to do. And then they come back and then they say, I was sure this was going to work. And it didn't. And I'm like, yeah. So you learned something. Cool.
Yeah.
And this happens every single year. I think I've done this workshop 6 times because I did it twice one year.
Yeah, it's a good workshop. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, I actually, honestly, it's not to brag, but thank you for saying so. But I think it is. And this is for those of you who don't know me. When I give away free stuff, my aim is to give you some real value. I'm not just throwing out stuff there. There's some real value in there. Nothing is, you can find it all on YouTube probably. But now you get everything set into a system, and it's being presented to you, and with exercises to make it more efficient.
Yeah. Maybe just a little different way of presenting it. But
I
you
think
get it.
most I do is simple.
Yeah. Different perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's all the questions I have for you today.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Is there anything you want to add that I forgot?
No, I think, and you said it's everyone makes mistakes with colors, or everyone gets, let's not call it mistakes. Everyone gets into the position where they find out that this didn't work, and follow your gut, try it out. If it doesn't work, fine. Try again.
Yeah.
But have fun.
Have fun.
Yeah.
For sure. And love what you're working on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have fun. If you don't have fun, why are we doing it?
Yeah.
So with that, until next time, knit some beautiful stitches, right?
Yeah. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thanks for spending this time with us here on Anne's Norwegian Knitting, conversations where knitting meets culture, heart, and history. If you enjoyed this episode, we'd love for you to share it with a fellow knitter or leave a note to let us know what you think. If you want to know more about Anne's Norwegian Knitting, go to annesnorwegianknitting.com and check it out. Until next time, may your stitches be steady, your yarn untangled, and your heart full. See you in the next episode.